A lifetime ago on this channel, I did a video where I put a bunch of pink cosmetics on my face and I was claiming that I don't like pink, and that was actually something I said a lot in the early days of my channel, so much so that I made merch about how I don't like wearing the color pink. In my video a couple days ago where I did the Hindash tutorial, I put a pink blush on my cheek and a lot of you really liked it, and I thought that we could revisit this concept because I do feel as though I don't hate pink and I know that I don't hate pink, and I just want to talk about it while I apply a full face of pink makeup, but not like I did the first time I did this concept. This is to show you how I like pink. I mean, like how I like to wear pink and the tones of pink that I like to wear so that it doesn't feel like I'm wearing pink. So whenever we're all said and done, you shouldn't look at my face and be like, they decided that they were wearing only pink in this video. This is the 5th of the 5 days of no buy. So when this goes live, it will be Cyber Monday of 2024. And this whole project has been in an effort to not get to know my collection, but love my collection a little bit more, and to remind you and myself that perhaps we don't need to be making any purchases this cyber consumeristic weekend where everything's on sale. But if you happen to budget all year for buying things during this weekend and you've done it, I hope that you have stuck to your budget. And if you have all the money in the world to spend all the money in the world, then I hope you're spending it in a way that makes you happy. I hope everyone comes out of this weekend doing what they thought that they were going to do and are happy about it. This is a primer that actually has appeared a lot in these 5 videos. This is the MAC Strobe Cream in Pink Light. Most of the primers I use are mostly just kind of like moisturizers, and they don't really have a color or a tint to them. This one has a slight tint to it, a little bit of a rosiness to it, and I think this is just a good way to get things started. My undertone is just neutral leaning slightly pink, despite what the internet might think. I know that my undertone is pink. Sometimes I think it's like the lighting and the way that things play off of like the reflection of the pink in the background. Like, yeah, I think that compared to how pink everything else in frame is, my tone is going to look a little more yellow compared to that. But I promise you that my undertone is pink. So having this like shifty, slightly rosy glow is just really flattering to me. And honestly, I could just like stop there and I think my skin would look really good, healthy, glowy. Like I just done my skincare, which in theory, I really just did my skincare. Like that's a fact. Like I actually did just do that. I really like the way that this gets my skin ready. So I'm going to put on foundation and concealer. We're not going to talk about the pinkness of that, and then I'll come back. A recent trend, I feel like this year, and I think this is like a trade secret, has been pink powder. So this is like a slightly leaning pink powder. People like to use the pink powder for brightening the under eyes. This is the original formulation of the Givenchy powder that got reformulated this year that very much upset many people. It didn't really matter to me. I don't really care that much about this powder, but of the powders I own, it is the only one that's like got a pink tint to it. So this isn't like the most pink I've seen, and I also feel like the pink powders tend to be a little bit lighter and they're like wholly designed for brightening. I'm fairly certain that this from Givenchy was meant to be like an all over face powder, but I'm just going to apply this a little bit under the eyes before anything creases up, because I am using the Dewdrop concealer today, and I know our history, you know, and I know that we like to be set before we move on to other things. I'm gonna do another couple of steps and come right back. I want to talk about pink blush. So in that Hindash video, I used this shade from Lukey Lukey, and it is the shade Cosmo Flesh. And it's this bright, punchy, cool leaning pink. There's a lot of blue in the base. This is when I think of pink makeup, really honestly is what I'm thinking of whenever I say that. It's back in the day, that's what I was thinking as well. I did this video and it never saw the light of day because I was in a really bad mood when I was filming it. I don't even remember what the concept of the video was, but I swatched a bunch of blushes in that video. And when I had all the blushes swatched out, I was really taken aback by how many of my blushes are like some form of pink, but I don't think of them as pink, and some of my favorite blushes. This year, I have been trying to use as much of this Kier Weiss blush as I can. This is the shade Inner Glow, and I don't know if I was like making a roundup of pink blushes, like this would be something that would come to mind. And it's like mostly beige, but it is like it's pink. It's like a warm, maybe leaning more a little bit orange, but it's like ultimately pink. The Pillow Talk blush wand in the shade Pillow Talk. It's a very nuanced take, but it is pink. I have this Valentino Eye to Cheek in the shade 3. And it's a little bit more purple pink, but I think that's what makes it look so good on the cheek. But I feel like it's pink. I have Mimi from Westman Atelier, which is advertised as a tawny beige. It's a version of pink. In my mind, I got this whole thing like where I'm like, I don't like pink, but it's just like, what kind of pink? A bright poppy pink, I don't have a lot of use for. I don't wear a lot of bright poppy colors, and it feels like a decided look. There's really, most of the time when I'm doing an eyeshadow look, the star of the show is like sparkle and not really like color, right? It's like I'm more playing with like texture when I'm doing my makeup. And this is something that I think I realized yesterday whenever I did that video with like the red eyeshadow, the look I did. And I was like, oh wow, this is just like so much. And I just like don't wear like bright punchy colors. It's more like I'm really concerned about texture. It's like why I do so much to my complexion. It's like I want it to like look a certain way. So whenever something like this top shade, it like really takes, like it becomes the star of the show on your face. And so I think basically what I feel about these bright punchy pinks is the similar way I feel about how much red I had on my face yesterday. It just like kind of overtakes everything. And like that's just like not what I'm interested in. Of course, like I do fun, bright, colorful looks occasionally. I obviously, this wouldn't be in my collection if I didn't like it. It's just not something I'm wearing very often. And I feel like my mind, whenever I put one of those colors on, just like yesterday, I can't see the end. But if you look at all the other colors, I like pink. It's just very specific, the format in which I will accept the pink. I accept the pink I think I deserve. And it isn't that. When I put it on my face, that bright pink, I like didn't hate it. It like at first it was like too much, but then I put it on the red lip and like it all kind of like sung together. So I think maybe going forward, something that I want to keep in mind is like, I really should maybe make the effort of trying some colors and vibrancies that make me uncomfortable just upon like looking at them, and then going from there to see how I can like balance them out, because I think that's what it is. It's like I can't see the end because most of the time the lip isn't that important to me. I'm wearing like a neutral brown lip, and so like that could be something that makes the cheek make sense if I'm wearing like a brighter cheek, because I feel like in the past when I've gone bright cheek, bright lip, it felt like an all or nothing situation where I don't think it has to feel that way to me. And it's not that you can't just do a bright cheek and a very washed out everything else if that's the look you're going for, but I think that I don't care to look like that on a regular basis. And it's not a wrong thing to look like. It's not even a wrong thing to desire to look like. It's just like, that's just not how my brain works. You know, it's like my brain says, that's not right. I don't like the way I look when I do that. I'm not going to wear the bright pink blush, but I just like wanted to point that out. Today, I think I want to wear Mimi from Westman Atelier. I just love this blush. I don't wear it on camera very often anymore. It's one of my true loves. And I know that like, you could say that's beige, but I think also on my skin, it's pink. You know, it's just a nice, it's a nice, easy pink where it's like, I'm not going to have to worry about the rest of my look and how to balance it because it's a very easy pink to wear. I think this is why a lot of people tend to like pink cosmetics, is that there is a lot of versatility in it. So the pinks that I tend to like, there's some sort of gray in it, right? Because I just think that gray looks good on my skin a little bit more than it might look on some other people's skin. So that's why I'm always disappointed whenever something in the cosmetic industry looks like a gray pink and it ends up just being like warm. I would say that this is definitely like a warmer pink, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a neutral, but it's not so warm that I think it's distracting if you do decide to wear cooler tones on your eyes. Now to highlighter. I was like, do I have a pink highlighter? I do, and I've had it for a while, and I don't use it on camera very often. I actually don't use it that often at all. It's from Westman Atelier. This is Peau de Rosé, and this is their super loaded tinted highlighter. While it is pink, I know that some people, it pulls very pink on them. I did swatch it over another thing, but you can see it's very subtle sheen of pink. And I think because I have like those rosier undertones, that pink is not as like prevalent on my face and my skin tone. Like I think my face kind of takes that, and you really get to see the beautiful shine and the beautiful glimmer of it. It's something that's really complimentary, but I think the reason I don't wear this that much is because I think of it as a pink highlighter. I also have this. This is from Pat McGrath. It's from forever ago. It's from the OG kits, and it's the iridescent pink 003 shade. It's always so beautiful when I put it on my skin. And again, I think just like I said about the Westman Atelier highlighter, it doesn't read as like something super pink on my skin. It's actually such a beautiful highlighter. It's a shame that she doesn't make this into a single. I haven't tried any of Pat McGrath's highlighters since that formula, so maybe they're really good. Highlighters always seem to be like limited edition and in like a very specific depth, either whether it's too deep for me or too light for other people. I feel like that's what they run into a lot. But I'm going to take the Westman Atelier highlighter today, mostly because I haven't worn it in a while, and we're heading into declutter. 'Tis the season for declutters, so we're heading into that. And it's always nice to like a little bit before you get into your declutter series to like touch base with some stuff. Look at that. Gorge. Okay. Wow. Okay. I need to wear this highlighter more. 1, it was incredibly expensive. 2, it is really beautiful. I have found, because I think whenever I first bought this and I was applying it with like my finger or doing like really heavy applications of it, it's too much going on. But applying it with this brush in particular, this has been my go-to brush for blushes and highlighters. It's the BK 109. There's something about these that really disperse product really beautifully. I think BK Beauty makes an excellent face brushes. I don't like their eyeshadow brushes, but their face brushes have been so excellent for me. Always play with something multiple ways before you decide how you feel about it, because I think there are some products that I super love, and I love them so much more because I've figured out like the right brush or application method for them to make them apply really beautifully in the way that I want them to work. So that's just like a fresh little reminder of that. I'm going to powder the rest of my face, and then we will talk about bronzer. In the last year or so, maybe like the last 2 years, bronzer has kind of gone through this like revolution a little bit, where it's like not what it once was, because I think a lot of people, when they thought of bronzer, they felt excluded, which is like both people with light skin tones and very deep skin tones felt excluded. And then also like it was always wrong. But I feel like bronzer, especially in the last couple of years, has really stepped up the game. I feel like me personally, I don't want to speak for everyone, but me and people with my skin tone, we were like putting up with like the oranginess of bronzers, and some people like that. I don't, but I feel like there's been a lot of talk in the community about rosy bronzers. I think Jones Road was the first one that really popped up on my channel. I remember in a Critical Sass I was talking about it, and I kind of poo-pooed it because I was like, that kind of looks like a blush. And a lot of you in the comments were like, I don't know, Tom, maybe there's something to it. And those bronzers went over pretty well, but I remember there not being a lot of product in them because I remember people hitting pan on them pretty quickly. And then from there, we saw more and more bronzers. We saw the release of the Phytosurgeons bronzers. The NYX Butter bronzers are also a little bit rosy. They have like a little bit of pink to them. And that's going to be suitable for people with different undertones. And it feels like people with cool undertones were often not incredibly thought of. It was like, oh, just deal with it. That's just what bronzer looks like. I think that now a good brand will think of people with those undertones and release bronzers that include them as well. Maybe not as extensive as some other brands, but like it's nice to see that we are like including something like that. And not every range, but a lot of the ranges are really considering it. I have the bronzer from Gucci in the shade 1, and this is one of those bronzers that has that pinkiness to it that I think reads really well on my skin tone. And it doesn't pull orange, and it adds warmth without going too warm. It's a beautiful product. I had the Phytosurgeon's bronzer in the lightest shade, and also really, really gorgeous. I don't know if I tried this before I tried the Phytosurgeon's bronzers. I think they both kind of came into my life around the same time. And I just remember feeling when I first got this was decluttered to me from a friend, Majestic Beast Beauty on Instagram. Her name is Nicole. And it was very, very nice of her to send it my way, and it's really nice that it really worked out so well for me. So I think we're looking at my face. I have a lot of things that are quote unquote pink, but I would say if you looked at my face today, you wouldn't be like, Tom is wearing a lot of pink and a lot of things with pink in it. It's just it's reading very natural and beautiful on my skin. When it came to eyeshadow, I still don't think I wear like a lot of like pink eyeshadow, but there was a pink eyeshadow palette that came into my life earlier this year that I love, and I want to use it today on camera with you. I might pull in some other pink shades as well, but we're going to use this from Bella Beauté Bar for most of the look. This is the Smoky Glam palette, and look, there's a lot of pink happening in here, but this is like one of my favorite things I tried this year. I love this palette, and I actually really like the pink tones in here, so I'm excited to put them on my face. I'm going to prime my eyes with the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, and we'll get started. A comment I really haven't stopped thinking about, I was talking about the Chanel blush in the shade Mauve Beige, and I was talking about how, like I said in that the video that was commented on, I was talking about how I just don't like mauve. And the person who commented was like, Tom, I'm wondering if it's not so much that you don't like mauve, or it's that the makeup industry thinks that mauve is one thing when it's something completely different. So in the makeup world, we think of mauve and we think of like, I think of like modern Renaissance, the pinks in there being considered like mauves. I think of them as like really super warm, but like mauve is really something that would have like gray undertones and lean more gray. So it turns out like I actually like mauve, but not like, I don't, also, again, it's like, I don't trust makeup brands to properly label their colors. It's like, I see mauve, and sometimes I see pictures of their photography and things look like they're going to have a little bit of that pinky gray to it, and then they turned out to be like a warm pink, and it's like, that's not always what I'm looking for. There's nothing wrong with a beautiful warm pink, but I think what I love about this Smoky Glam palette, well, there's a lot of things I like about it. One, I just like Bella Beauté Bar's formula, but we kind of have both versions of pink in here. So we have like the more gray pinks, and I think a lot of things in this palette tend to have a little bit more of that gray to them because it is so supposed to be smoky. But you also have like a lot of grays down here. So you could tap in to a couple things and like tap into a gray and tap into the pink and make your own little color. But I'm going to start with Pose as my transition shade. Sorry, I'm going to zoom in for this portion of the video. This is like not a shade that is too far from my skin tone. It's starting to create some dimension, but it's not looking like too pink. Whenever I talk about pink, that's the mental block that I have. I'm gonna go into this shade Whisper, and I guess this could be maybe like a little more of a purple leaning pink. And I actually don't think I'm gonna go any deeper with like a deeper pink or a darker shade, because I want to keep it super, super light. And we're also going to put a shimmer or maybe multiple shimmers on. So I'm going to take this shade Milk Bath, and I'm just going to apply it all over my lid. And this is like a duochrome. There's like, it's kind of like pink to blue. So a soft pink eye, but I just don't feel like it looks like I'm wearing like a monochrome pink color story on my face, and yet we are. Okay, I'm gonna throw on mascara and eyeliner, and we'll move on to lips. So actually, whenever I came up with this idea to revisit pink, I was like, I don't really have a lot of like pink lip products, and I really don't have a ton, but I do have a couple. And I actually really kind of want to focus on or show you these two. So we have Merit's Baby, which is a very interesting pink. It has, some of that gray in it. And in fact, one of you commented once and you were like, it looks so ashy on me. And I understand. Baby, it's supposed to be like a little bit of a yucky wearable pink. This is Baby, and this is Dahlia from Ravi Beauty. Both very beautiful products, but I'm going to stick with my fave Baby. My whole body is dehydrated, just not dehydrated, but dry from the change of weather. I think what we learned here today, or what I learned here today, is that like every color is going to have a lot of nuance to it, and there's going to be different ways to take it and wear it. But ultimately, I think the thing I learned the most is I probably like pink more than I think, and I think it looks really good on me, and I think I look gorgeous in it. And there's also a way to do like a monochromatic look that doesn't feel so monochromatic because you're taking different versions of pink. Because I don't think that like my whole vibe here is really pink, but another thing that I will say is I think pink looks quite good on me. Let me just say this. I think anyone can wear any color that they want as far as like blush, or like you do whatever you want. But like, I think you cannot protest that like pink is like very suitable for me and my skin tone. And it really brought it to life and makes my skin look really healthy. I mean, that's partly the products that I use today too, but I think it's a combination of all of the things. Love pink. That's the end of the 5 days of no buys. So thank you all so much for sticking with me. I know a lot of you got a lot of value of just spending time with me every day. I really have enjoyed spending time with you every day. And now we're headed into December. So we're going to start wrapping this year up, which is actually so wild. This year has felt simultaneously like the longest year of my life and also the shortest year of my life, which I think just happens. I know it happens when you're getting old, but also just like, it's like actually just bizarre how long the days are and how short the years are, isn't it? But if you stayed with me this whole time, thank you so much. And if you ended up not buying anything over the course of the last 5 days, I'm proud of you. If you stuck to your budget, I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that you didn't succumb to the marketing. I know it's been intense. It's always intense. I also want to tell you, it's from a creator's standpoint, it's also incredibly intense. There were emails and messages all the time trying to tell me to tell you about people's sales. And I was like, can I be put on the list of like, maybe don't email me about every one of your sales because I'm not going to tell my audience? Yeah, it was really annoying from my end too. Also as a consumer and someone who likes to buy things. So this was a tough one. This was a tough year. And I think a lot of us were having a double tough year because I think the general malaise has gotten the best of us. Here on this channel, here in this community, I do think so. I think that's what's gone on. That's what's happened. If you are new to my channel and you watch this video all the way through, thank you so much for watching. My channel is mostly about helping myself and helping you be more discerning about the things that we're buying, specifically in the realm of makeup. I try to cut through makeup marketing and try to really get to the bottom of what these brands are trying to tell us and message us and whether or not I think those things are worth it. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to have you stick around. I have channel memberships and Patreon. If you want to check those out, those are linked down below. I just posted today, as the time of filming, the vlog that went up, and then I'm also going to be doing a brand review, and I'm going to do my first impressions over there. So if you're interested in that, and I'm going to be doing a Patreon/channel members live stream, so I'm going to get that organized. Probably we're going to try to do that before, like, either in between New Year's and Christmas or before Christmas, before everyone starts like being away. So I'll figure that out. Anyway, but if you want to be part of that, that's where you can do that. All levels of patronage get the same thing. You would have access to all the things that I just said. But if you don't have the money or you do not want to join my Patreon or channel memberships, that's totally fine. I'm so happy that you are here liking, commenting, and sharing my content. That's the best way to help me or any other content creator on this platform. I have a pinned comment. In that will be a link to help families in Gaza through Operation Olive Branch. If you do have the means to help people, I would appreciate it, and I'm sure they would very much appreciate it. And that's going to wrap up this video, and that's a wrap on the 5 days of no buys. I'm really excited about that. Man, it is hard to post every day. People who do it, I only did it for 5 days. I did it one time for 30 days. Ooh, babe. B, that's not from me. That's a Vlogmas. That ain't from me. So as I'm ending my Vlogmas by 5 days of posting in a row, all the other Vlogmases are probably beginning. So anyway, lots of content from everyone's going to be coming your way very quickly. So remember to follow your hope and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.